I really like jobs. And I really think jobs are like the cornerstone of everything. I think Superteam has done what it has done through jobs. The best thing you can do for people is kind of teach a man to fish and not give him a fish.
There was a moment when Solana dropped to like $8. Were you scared of that?
Not really. I bought a bag.
At $8?
Yeah. I got it at around 10. Like the dip was very short, say.
Man, you're rich today then.
It's amazing. Like you should earn your first crypto, not buy your first crypto. And we kind of felt that like the region was missing like a shining beacon. Like we aren't that special. People just saw us and they were like, okay, I can finally not be alone.
Do you think Solana will surpass Ethereum at one point?
But I feel ETH has been very uneventful. All the newest metas, all the newest stuff, everything that is happening on Solana. You can see it from the numbers, from the volume. Like we've been through a lot, and these same people that were there back then and who are still here today, like we know each other and we know we're not going anywhere.
Today I'm sitting with Matija Luketin. He's the co-founder of the Superteam Balkan team, a collective that is trying to level up the whole Southeast Europe crypto scene through education, events, and support for early stage startups. He's been deep in the crypto for years, from co-founding Solbound to leading Dump, one of the key organizations for young developers. Welcome to the Locked In podcast.
Hi man, it's very nice to be here representing Superteam Balkans.
Nice. So I realized like very early in your career, you pretty much started with helping others. When was that wish born within you that you want to help others, to grow communities and grow your career in that direction?
Cool, very interesting question. I actually started kind of working early at like 15 years old and instantly managed to figure out a network of like student friends. It was all like student work. And I always joke, I've seen more student contracts than anybody else. I've kind of figured out that there are people who have what I then did not know was like deal flow, and people who are, struggling to get work. And that's kind of the best thing you can do for people is kind of teach a man to fish and not give him a fish. And really fell in love with that kind of concept. Later discovered development, and of course, like IT is a very professional sector. There's a lot of room for those kind of people, and kept expanding my network, kept expanding my net worth in that way, and just kind of finding fulfillment in that. I really find joy in putting the person in the right place they're supposed to be in the universe.
Yeah, did you had like, when you were early, did you had like a huge support from your like parents, friends, or you had zero support? Because I realized that in many cases this kind of wishes and like tendencies are born very early. So
I mean, basically, I don't know, like I was born and raised in a good family, like had support, but as far as like industry connections, I had none whatsoever. I don't have a single person working in IT. Like I've had to build the network myself. Like, and I used to be jealous with some friends who's like, parents had huge IT companies. They always had a safety net. I really just kind of had to go out in the world and create my own connections. And like today, I can proudly say that like I feel very well connected, and that like nothing was really given to me.
Yeah, honestly, it's one of the things that I heavily underrated at the start. When I joined the Web3, I literally I spent 2 years within Web3 while making almost like zero connections. And I realized it was a huge mistake because especially in this world, like so many stuff is based pretty much on connections. What was your like initial moment in Web3? How did you join Web3 scene?
So basically, I don't know who knows Josip Volarevic, but he was like kind of my entry. He's a bit Solana famous these days, but we go even way back, even before Solana. He was the CTO of a project called The Remnants back in late 2021, man. That sounds so strange to say. In early 2022, he got a kid and asked me to he was kind of dying, asked me to help. And I was currently working at a California-based fintech startup called Supermoney, something with like refinancing loans and stuff like that. And so I had an affinity. I looked at crypto and I wanted to go full-time crypto. I actually joined that company with a promise that we'll be making our own Web3 wallet, which I thought sounded amazing. When I saw that wasn't happening, I took Josip's call and basically became CTO for Longwood Labs. So again, like a small connection with a guy who wasn't that influential, but if I didn't have that friend from college, like none of this would have happened. Superteam Balkans would not have happened. He basically found their advertisement on Fiverr. It was up for 5 minutes before it was taken down because it had a link to their Discord, and he was camping Fiverr in those days. And if he hadn't found that like ad in a 5-minute time frame, literally like none of this would be here. All these hundreds of people in our community, my dev shop, all these things. So yeah, your network is definitely the most valuable thing you can grow.
Yeah, and it's funny for me, like a lot of people from these territories, Serbia, Croatia, Bosnia. I worked on Upwork previously, so I realized a lot of like these early days come from these places and or connections from people with these places. So yeah, and when you were like starting the Superteam Balkan, like did you ever had a feeling like it's my obligation to spread the word about the Web3 crypto and to expand in that direction, or?
Somewhat. I'm still kind of bearish on like selling people crypto as itself. And like the fun part about Superteam is that it's like completely tries to detach itself from the speculative side of things. Like we don't promote price action of any kind or anything. It's just what we initially fell in love with, Josip and I, and how we know Superteam was through the Superteam Earn platform, where you could basically, again, what you just said, a variant of Fiverr and Upwork. Just with kind of bounties that were much larger than we had seen before. And kind of that promise of jobs, an industry where there is not much competition because highly reputable developers are kind of avoiding it because of the stigma that everything we do is a scam. You as a guy who's been a lot into play to earn, probably have experience about, shady projects and things like that. So that was appealing to us, and that's what we kind of sell and push to people. We've hired dozens of people in the industry, like in all sorts of professions, and that's kind of what I like the most. Again, starting from what I mentioned at 15, I really like jobs, and I really think jobs are like the cornerstone of everything. I think Superteam has done what it has done through jobs, and I kind of pride myself on getting people hired and knowing a lot of people that both need and give jobs.
Yeah, I realized a lot of things in Web3 are kind of based on price action, and like people are like gouging like the value of the projects purely on their price action. So I think your approach is good, and like we need like more people that look in that direction. Do you feel like specifically, for example, in Balkan, I realize like there's still a lot of people when they look at crypto opportunities, they're always like looking at meme coins, leverage trading, and this stuff, and they undervalue like the opportunity of like learning some specific skills and like actually finding a well-paid job. And this is like kind of much easier way to get yourself secured from the financial standpoint.
Yeah, 100%. Like people have a very bad perception of like long-term things. Like the price action, even so we're in the Balkans. We all know Balkaneers love to gamble. There's a Admiral Riviera casino every 100 feet where we live. But that is not the way. All the people that you'll see that get, I've known a couple who have even gotten like into 7 figs through like crazy luck, crazy trades. Those people always without exception lose that money within a very short period of time. Because kind of if you're like that kind of minded individual, you're probably not going to know what to do with the money. You probably will find ways to lose it very fast. If you're kind of doing something constructive, like building one thing on top of the other for years, like we have for the past 4 years, you're sure to come out and profit. You'll get the thing that you desire by not behaving, in a crazy way towards it. Just kind of let it come. Do something constructive, bring value to the ecosystem. A lot of people have a lot of jobs that need filling. Even if you just have like when I came in as a dev, I didn't value that as much, but even just ecosystem knowledge is something that's very, very valuable to people. Like people coming from the outside, even if you were just a degen for the last 2 years, you can actually like have people pay you by planning their GTM strategy, by being their Twitter intern, by having a post on social media. And those are roles that pay very well. Like even the development roles, you're going to get paid twice as much for literally the same work. Like doing JavaScript on the front end, on the back end, it's paid twice as well, just because there's huge demand and not enough talent, and especially not enough trustworthy talent. Like I can't tell you how many times we as a dev shop have encountered like a client where like, hey, like we don't want to work with a dev shop because our last dev shop, took the money and ran. Like we literally, our whole niche was like, okay, let's just be trustworthy, good guys that really care about the client, trying to help you. And with no marketing and with just word of mouth, we to this day like have more work than we can take on. I keep refusing work for my guys because we're just really doing so well. Not to brag, but it just is the case.
Yeah, I realize you're kind of all doxed pretty much. So I think that's kind of like even like the initial step, like showing your face, who you are, like spreading what you do, right? And yeah, I fully agree with you, like regarding the job markets. That's why I ask, and I hope that more people from Balkan actually see this and actually lean towards the direction. Regarding Superteam, how many people are there in currently?
So like core team is like the 5 of us. I would say closest knit community of people who are like constantly bringing value is like 20-30, and there's about 60 or so members right now with 30-40 contributors, and like 2,000 people in Discord as well. Like it's large.
Yeah, and did you had like, because when I was at the last conference, you can see the shirt that I'm wearing is from your last conference. Like I realized, like your event was like larger than some events that I visited Dubai, like a token 49 or NFT Paris, right? So I was actually pretty amazed. This is like the reason why I actually invited you. Like, did you ever notice like some breaking moments? Like, okay, this is actually taking off. There is huge potential of like growing the community on Balkan, or?
Yeah, 100%. So it's happened even a couple times, because it's now been almost 2 years, and we've gone through like phases, of course. Initial phase was quite rough when we still didn't know anybody. It was like the first hackathon build station that we had was like 8 of my guys posing as hackathon contestants, and we had like two guys doing their own projects. Where now we're like 2 years later, and we've had 77 projects submitted, which is like, we're super proud of that. Like 6 months ago, it was 31, I think. There's a lot of these moments. Like when we started, we basically asked Cash Danda, who is the founder of Superteam, to provide us with one. Marco had a community, I had the devs, but we were not sure that there's enough people in the region. 100%, like we did not know. And slowly as it progressed, and especially the first like 6 months, we kept getting people who are like, oh my gosh, like I've been working in crypto full time 4 years, and I've never spoken about Web3 in my own language. I thought I was alone. We kept getting that.
I felt that way, yeah, as well.
A lot of people, and so we joke like between ourselves, like in every Web3 project or protocol, there's one Balkaneer somewhere. He might be a customer support agent, he might be a dev, but there's one. And I'm telling you, like now that's like the story of 2,000 people. And we kind of felt that like the region was missing like a shining beacon. Like we aren't that special. People just saw us and they were like, okay, I can finally not be alone, which is something seemingly that the organizations before us didn't quite manage to do. Like this used to be like near Balkans country. There was a lot of ICP, definitely a lot of ETH, and it kept being fragmented. And I think I like to think that kind of because Marco and I are like the most approachable guys ever. Like we're not going to hate on you. We really are here to help. Our motto is we rise by lifting others, coined by Marco. People feel the energy and people see that we're not trying to do it, let's say, the Balkan way of like extracting like whatever 10% for ourselves. Like we just really want to help and we love it.
Yeah, that was also like my first impression, like I was like, okay, these are like literally the first guys that are like builders and trying to build something and like grow, right? Like most of the stuff that you came across Balkans are like some trading groups or something like that. That's again not sustainable as we spoke, right? Because like the market fluctuates, right? And like you will always have a need for high quality people and positions, right? But like when markets are down, like the activity volume, everything is down, so like the opportunities are like lower and lower. And even if you trade or do something like that, you're trading kind of versus smarter people that actually manage to preserve their capital and grow it during the good times, right?
100%. Yeah. And also, like, just to add to Marco, my co-founder from Belgrade, he actually, the group he had with 500 members, it was a fully alpha trading group. Like they were, catching NFT mints, trying to get, alpha, all this stuff. But if for some reason, like the group that he formed, we joke that empires and billion-dollar projects rose and fall, but ZenDAO is the name of the DAO, is still there because he created this special kind of family environment where people help each other. Like they're going to scan documents to help each other with laws, with finding jobs, with all this stuff. And we really think that's where you create the proper community that you need that supports each other day in, day out. And now it's been a year and a half that Marco is no longer leading ZenDAO, and ZenDAO has continued on its own. Like its members are fully helping each other and making the group stay alive, which we're very proud of. Like great people in the Balkans, really.
I didn't know that part of the story. You mentioned bounty boards. You're also doing grants. Can you say something about that?
Yes. So we basically, our main kind of show that we are doing a good job towards Solana Foundation is that we earn money for our members, which is a wonderful alignment of incentive. We do this through, as I said, hiring, my personal favorite. We also do it through grants. So if you are building a project, if you're trying to be a founder, it's literally our job to support you through every step of the way. Initially through ideation, through a grant up to $10,000. Just to be fully transparent, this is usually like 2,000 to 5,000. Like 5 to 10 is reserved for teams that have already proven something that we know we can count on to deliver. But yeah, it could be you watching this video someday. So through grants, they're basically how do I say this in English? They're like non-returnable, non-equity grants where we finance you through milestones, and then as you achieve the milestones, you get another fraction of the allocated grant, and you can finance yourself all your DevOps costs. You have hosting costs if you need to pay for somebody. If you're a dev, you need a designer. That's what that is for. We'll also get you devs and designers if you need them. And then we have bounties, which are a bit different. So a company, when they need something, they come to us through Superteam Earn. It can be literally about anything. It can be a content grant, a writing grant, a development, a bounty. And for example, Soulflare will have write a thread about using Soulflare wallet, $500. A lot of people submit, and then usually the top 3 will get some kind of cash prize for writing a thread. And you can sometimes people have gotten, $1,000 for writing a Twitter thread for 45 minutes. Like they're very good, but also, competitive as well.
Yeah, I think these bounties are also something that many people neglect, and so often like there are not so many people that are actually competing, especially if you look at like higher quality, and it's something that I honestly participate in regularly, not specifically on Superteam, but might be something that I explore personally as well. Are you aware of any other organizations on Balkans that is doing something similar that you're doing, or no?
Not as large. Like if you go to and not as like democratized. So if you're like a crazy protocol engineer, you can probably go to Aptos, Polygon, some of these, and they will give you a grant, but it's going to be for something huge, like make a decentralized exchange on Polygon for 100K.
I don't mean in terms of grant. I mean in terms of like building the community on Balkan in a way as you are doing it. No, right?
Not at the scale that we see, which is kind of funny for me to say. Like I know Near had big efforts, and I hear Near is coming back. But as far as Ethereum communities, I'm very much a Solana maxi. Unfortunately, like there's after 4 years still so much for me to discover still on Solana that I really don't know as much about what's happening in like Sui, say, and all of these. So I'd rather not say anything. But I think we would have met them and or seen them. Like the Cosmos guys just had a conference in Split, and we met in a very friendly way. We supported them as much as we could. We were just trying to be friends with everybody, even if we were bullied by EVMers for a couple of years there.
Yeah, in the end, we all have the same goal, like the further adoption, right? So, and how do you see, for example, Balkan community growing to the level as you can see like huge growth of Turkish community, huge growth of Philippines community, Brazil, like especially, for example, since I'm a lot in Web3 gaming, I realize like there is all like nations or regions, they kind of have their own community. We in Balkan are kind of lacking that a lot. How do you see that like growing?
We'll see. I would not compare us to like emerging markets, like let's say Brazil, Nigeria, Turkey. These places, it's hard to compete with them because people kind of these are like high inflationary areas, and people just by the nature of their life situation are going to flock to crypto. Like USDC to a person where the lira is going down 50% every month is kind of a necessity in life. So that's why they have so many users. But I see us. I think we're already on the level. Like when you look at global events, hackathon applications, when you look at our community and the size of it, like right now, there's I would say we're on par, especially if you look like in regards to the population. Balkans has like 35 million. I'm not currently sure how many Brazil has, but I would say it's much more than 35.
Yeah, for sure.
So like with India, like it's very hard to compete with a billion person economy. But in proportion, I think we're doing as good, if not even better.
Yeah. Makes sense. Yeah, that it's way more people. Yeah, I didn't take that into account. Yeah, but I also, as you said, I haven't met a lot of people from here in comparison to how many people I met from other regions.
I think it might be play to earn. Specifically because it's a paradox. I think about this a lot, but in the Balkans, even though we're all like kind of gamblers, it is kind of a mentality that the average person does have. We do have this aversion to getting scammed. And like even a bit too much, so a person won't really go for a play to earn game as much. They're going to be much more skeptical. I think that's the impression I've gotten over the last 2 years. Like I also had Heist, as you know, like which was the biggest gaming project in like 2023, and I don't know a single person that played that who was not already on Solana, crypto native. There was some like those Zendao guys, but no Croatians like out in the wild. People just generally avoid these things because of, I would say, maybe social unrest for the past 30, 50 years.
Yeah, and sometimes it's hard like to find the balance about like being optimistic and being too skeptical, right? Because if you're consistently skeptical, like you won't do anything, but if you are like too optimistic, you will get scammed thousands of times, So
100%. I think anybody with a bit of a longer engagement in crypto was both too optimistic and too pessimistic many times.
Yeah, and for everybody that is longer, I said like there are two groups of people. One is that got scammed and keep pushing, and second is that got scammed and left.
Yeah.
There's no group that wasn't scammed or hacked or something at least once. You also started like, since you mentioned like recruiting and this stuff, you also started Talent Scout recently. Can you say something more about that?
Yes. So one of the Superteam Germany OGs, Noah Rieker, he went separated from Germany and basically started Superteam Talents, which is an initiative that I wish I had created because it's amazing. They basically partner with companies inside the ecosystem and basically try to source talent to them. There's now a huge database of partners. You can find my ref link on my Twitter profile. Usually Talents
Yeah,
is set
I will
up in a
post
way
it in
where,
description.
yeah, for sure. Usually Talents is like made in a way where 5 to 15% of the salary of the person that gets hired goes into the scout's pocket, which is, I mean, that's kind of amazing if you're a connected person. Since I am a super team lead and conflicts of interest exist, then that cut goes into the Superteam Balkans treasury, and we organize events with it and all this stuff. Marco, my co-founder, is also a Superteam Balkan scout. Just all in all, an amazing initiative that I'm proud to be associated with. I've been lacking on time and planning one of these days to kind of send over a wave of people that I've collected. But yeah, they're just, it's amazing. Like, you should earn your first crypto, not buy your first crypto. I've never on-ramped crypto. And really does make sense. Like, in that way, you're going to be more motivated to participate in the economy. These days, you have a lot of ways to actually use that crypto with credit cards and different things. So I definitely recommend checking out jobs in any way and capacity.
Yeah, you said that very well. You know, I noticed, for example, like the people that never withdraw money, like they sometimes don't have a feeling that it's real money, and like the whole expectations in crypto are kind of going to the moon, right? For many people, you know, like they have like no realistic view, no perspective, you know, what like certain amount of money actually means, right? And many people got lost in that.
And there's even the opposite of, like, we were at a conference, we were sponsoring it, and we were giving out 50 USDC. Like, there was this candy machine kind of thing. You play the game, you get $50, and people were like, all you got to do is make a wallet. People did not want to make a wallet because that's not real money. Like, giving them $50 for a minute of their time, and people are so scared of getting scammed and onboarded to crypto that they're like, no, thank you, I don't want to take the free money. So it's Web3 is a very polarizing space with very different extreme characters, for sure.
Yeah, I noticed that as well, you know, like specifically in these bounty programs, I heard people complaining like, oh, this is too small, you know, from one side, you know, and I can understand that. Makes sense. I wanna pivot like to a little bit different direction. Why Solana? Why not Ethereum or some other chain?
Yeah, that's actually a great question. First of all, I can't lie. I got my specific opportunity in Solana. But why I chose kind of to stay, I was first like just a dev for the first 6 months, didn't participate in the ecosystem. But the more I started uncovering it, I like the vibe. It's kind of, I think this is the biggest mistake of Ethereum. So they kind of got a bit, as the kids would say, bougie. They got really academic, kind of rigid to change. And there was this ethos that like people were repeating, and if you're out of line, like that's not allowed. Like you're not like ETH aligned is a thing. On Solana, you don't have that. On Solana, you have like the entire Solana Foundation roasting Toli on the timeline. Like you can see it now with Vibu, the new marketing manager. People don't take themselves so seriously, even though like these days you have, you know, Western Union, you have huge Wall Street corporations joining, but we are not stuck up. And like I've always felt kind of like it's the people's chain. This also just comes from, I think, the pragmatic view of like, okay, blockchain is amazing. Let's just make this fast and cheap. And the initial appeal of that, like I really do think that it's that simple. Like Solana has the first mover advantage in this space. Most used chains now that are coming out, like Monad, Suisei, they're all kind of doing this. As we've seen, it's not a small difference in use cases. Like the speed allows you to do things that are impossible if the chain was a bit slower. And I was just sold on the technical part, but even more so, like just sold on the culture. Everybody was always willing to help. There was not as much tribalism. Just the vibe just felt so perfect and so right. Like nobody dismissed us. In classic IT, like people would look at us like we're kids. Like I have 10 guys, average age here is like 20, 26. But in crypto, like nobody cares. Just do the work. If you can do the work, if you can be trusted, like you will be rewarded. And that's all that matters. And I just fell in love with that concept and the freedom, honestly.
Yeah, I also think that so many people in general in the world are like sick of like wearing suits and stuff like that, right? And like that, this non-official approach, you know, I'm always, you know, when I work with somebody, I'm like, we can be like best friends, right? But when it comes to work, I expect you to do this, you know, and this is how I behave on the other side as well, you know, like there is no friendship when it comes to the work part, but regarding everything else, yeah, we can be like the best friends. Like, I have to ask you price action-based question, like, especially since you said this, do you think Solana will surpass Ethereum at one point?
I would think so. Like I really am, again, Solana maxi. So like even asking me for an Ethereum comparison is kind of what else am I going to say than that? But I feel like ETH has, again, the first mover advantage. I feel there's so many people that got rich off ETH that they're going to die, you know, stand by ETH until they die. But I feel ETH has been very uneventful. All the newest metas, all the newest stuff, everything that is happening on Solana. You can see it from the numbers, from the volume, even now the Monad listing. Like just every new asset that's going to be listed anywhere now is going to be listed day one, specifically on Solana. The uptops have a great vision, and I think it's the right direction. And I feel like we're just getting so much usage that it's not out of the question that anything else happens. Maybe we fall asleep. Like I feel recently we're also getting a bit complacent over the last year with all the wins, and like we need to keep it up and not get complacent and fall asleep at the wheel like Ethereum did. Sorry to say.
Yeah, I realized some of this stuff as well, you know, since I was doing a very deep research on AI, I realized like all the AI projects kind of initially were born on Solana, you know, and meme coins started that trend, you know. I think a lot of people like are still looking at Solana as a meme coin chain, but I think, you know, if they keep doing what they're doing, it will evolve from that, right? In the end, I feel like the revenue is one of the most important stuff in the end, right? And for example, like at the moment, you know, like there's a lot of people that are saying that Solana is centralized. There was a moment when Solana dropped to like $8.
Was down.
Yeah. Were you scared of that or?
Not really. I bought a bag. Like $8. Yeah. I got it at around 10. Like the dip was very short, Tate.
Man, you're rich today then.
I'm not. I was broke then. I put what little I had then. But it was like you just have to go look and see what the people are doing. Like at that moment, I was like, bro, like $10 chain. Oh, you've made me talk about price action. But yeah, it's definitely undervalued. Like when you see all the talent, all the startups, all the companies, all the protocols, all the crazy revolutionary stuff. Also, when you see the persistence of founders, like the stuff Solana has been through, like FTX, I still remember the weekend of the USDC DPEG and like Silicon Valley Bank failing and like us waiting for the market open. The violent soul drops to 8, as you mentioned, like, you know, projects leaving us. Like if people remember, like when DGOS left us at the worst moment in time on Solana, which was the biggest NFT project in the space, like potentially even like base C level. Like we've been through a lot, and these same people that were there back then and who are still here today, like we know each other and we know we're not going anywhere. Like I'm 2022 cohort. I'm really sorry that I'm not like 2020 cohort. Because there's some even like realer G's than the 2022 guys from way back in the day, and like those people will be here in 2070, man. Like it's always gonna be here. I'm never scared for Solana, really.
Yeah, we would all want to be like a little bit earlier, but like as the time is going on, you know, I started feeling I was kinda relatively early, but actually like the mistakes that I did along the way were like the bigger problem for me, you know. And I think that ability, you know, to recognize that you need to be like deep into the trenches, have knowledge in different areas to recognize, okay, this is actually a good buy at $10, right?
100%. Yeah, my best, I don't know why we're talking about trading. My best plays have been like domain knowledge stuff. Like when I see a project, and I'm like, oh, but well, this is just good. Like these guys know what they're doing. I've talked to enough startups and seen enough visions and pitch decks to know that this is good. This is not like speculative per se. Like this is what I do, and like I think I know the answer, and usually it does turn out that way to be the answer. But just to the note of like always wanting to be earlier, as far as price action again that we're talking about, 2022 was the perfect time. If I came in 2021, I would have probably lost a lot of money. But I just wish I was there for the history, man. Honestly, like the things people used to tell me about the early marketplaces for NFTs, the first like Solid wallet going down with an exploit, all these cultural things. I really wish I was there for it. The old hacker houses I've never seen, the Bahama FTX parties, all these crazy things that are in Solana's history that I kind of missed. That's what I regret. I definitely don't regret trading in that time and existing in that time, because I have a lot of friends who lost a lot through early 2021.
Yeah, I actually joined like near the peak of bull market at like 2017, but I guess space evolves fast, and we will for sure see a lot of things that other people would wish they could have seen. So yeah, and in terms of like
every day.
Yeah, in terms of like narratives and projects, what you think are the stuff that has like the most potential, like in general on Solana, and what you saw on the events here in Balkan, in Serbia, Croatia?
Yeah, so right now the scene is I don't know, prediction markets are quite hot, RWAs are quite hot, Deepin has kind of cooled off, I feel. One project that I'm really passionate about right now is ORE project. This is like ORE V2. They have this interesting mining mechanism, which is, there's a huge debate going on in the community on whether it's gambling or mining. But they have a very interesting tokenomics model. Even Tolly like tweeted them a couple times. The Coliseum founders are also like supporting them. Really, really interesting buyback model. And I think right now yesterday they just crossed pump.fun in revenue, which is an incredibly impressive thing to say. They're like top 3 projects by revenue.
That one, yeah.
I'll send you the links. They're quite interesting. There's now like a whole suite of like an ecosystem, a small ecosystem growing around ORE, where people are making tooling, different spin-offs, additions to tokenomics. I like that kind of smart, non-extractive stuff. I feel is very fun.
But they're by backing Sol, or
so you play the game by putting in Sol and you get back ORE. But I recommend reading the docs because it's very interesting. But people are actually incentivized. There's always players, and they're buying back like around 2 Sol every minute and a half of the token, which is like whatever right now, $300. But yeah, it goes wilder. There's a mechanic where the prize pot builds up and it goes like to 8 Sol a minute buybacks, and it's really good. Yeah, not financial advice. Don't buy things, but check out the tokenomics model. Like it's so nice. It was made by our friends in Radiance and Hard Hat Chad, who's an incredible developer. He also made like some frameworks that are used next to Anchor. Like great engineers and great guys, really.
At first it sounds a little bit Ponzi, but I look into it. I think this is one of the things that we kind of still haven't like found out what's the best way like to build sustainable tokenomics, right? Especially like in alts, and this is like the reason why we are not having kind of, at least I think so, that this is the reason why we are kind of not having the official alt season as we had in the past. Like for example, for the projects that come to you for grants or like anything, like how do you evaluate, like what are like the metrics that you look into, whether they're good, whether they have the potential? Like, is it based on ideas, certain metrics, or?
Yeah, for sure. So out of grants, it's kind of the YC / general startup system. So we look at both the idea, but what's more important to us is the team. Like the team is, I would say, the most important thing. Because products change, market conditions change, but a good team who's really stacked can always pivot to something that's good and viable. The idea needs to bring something to the ecosystem, but we don't really just reject grants. We're gonna like hit you up on a call. We're going to talk to you. We're going to see why this, why not something else. Maybe have you thought about this angle? Maybe we're not understanding the application because you're the guy with the expertise here. Like, can you just elaborate on why you think this is good? So yeah, something the ecosystem needs, something new. Definitely not NFT ticketing systems. Definitely not, those kind of ideas that we've seen, tried and failed a million
ones.
times. Yeah. I mean, the most basic, like startup ideas that everybody gets when they come into crypto, like, oh, it's a immutable ledger on chain. What if I write this down on the ledger? Kind of idea.
New chain.
yeah. But like something like my favorite project right now out of the Balkans is called Hoba. It's self-repaying loans. It's being done by two guys from Zagreb. Actually, one is from Rijeka originally, but Igor, who is the engineer, is ex-Meta, ex-Tesla. He used to to report to Musk directly. Very, very stacked guy. He already won with one of his DeFi projects and presented at a European demo day. But basically, the gist of the thing is, okay, I have 1 Bitcoin. I want to buy a car. I don't want to sell it. Okay, here's my Bitcoin into the Hoba smart contract. They will give you the 20, 30K, I don't know the math right now, that you need for buying the car. You get the money right away. And then through a certain period of time, they have different delta neutral yield strategies that then repay your loan. And after a year, you'll get your Bitcoin back, and you've spent no money. You keep the 20K from the loan, and the yield paid off your loan. And I think those guys are gonna do great things with that. This already exists on EVM actually, so it's a proven model. But those guys, I think on Solana, they're unlocking, again, as I said, some use cases that are actually not viable on slower chains. So I think they might win the hackathon, and I think that project has a great future. And both founders are like really, really great people. I look up to for sure.
Yeah. At the first moment, it sounds like a simple idea, right? But it's actually a very good one. I think DeFi is in general like very underutilized. If you look at like Twitter and what people like in comparison to like the mindshare that it has, it's underutilized, right? Like I think it should have much higher mindshare in comparison to some other stuff.
One could argue that nothing outside of actual DeFi has product market fit in this industry. Like it feels at times games are different. Like games have like entertainment value maybe, but there's a debate to be had there as well. But the only things that actually sort like real life problems for people, which are like stable coins, DLMMs, like automated market makers, those are beautiful things. Like perpetuals, even though perpetuals are now used for degenerate, leverage gambling and things like that. If you look at like the tech and the logic behind like perpetuals on chain, it's incredible. Like when I figured it out, I went around for 3 days explaining what perps are to people, because these are really products that do not exist in traditional finance and are really revolutionary, like wonderful things.
I don't follow. Yeah, this is maybe weird to say, but I don't follow traditional finance, so I didn't know that perps actually don't exist there, But yeah, I also like, like when I heard, for example, first time for delta neutral strategies where you, for example, short one asset on exchange and you stake on like the asset, right, in certain ratio, and like in whichever the direction the price goes, you get some earnings, right?
Yeah.
I thought this was like, oh my god, I can't imagine somebody like, it's pretty much arbitrage on the asset, right, for the people that are like buying altcoins and buying that asset pretty much. So yeah, I think this stuff are like, we need more of that. Is there like any project that, for example, for me it's like, I always thought, why is nobody making a project that will allow you to like seamlessly bridge and swap assets? For example, if you have USDC on Ethereum, you take a loan in Ethereum to pay the fees for swapping and bridging and this stuff. For example, we didn't have that until recently. Did you ever had some project that I would like to see somebody build this?
I mean, you have like seamless bridges through Wormhole. on Solana?
Yeah. Now there are multiple projects that are doing that, but until maybe a year ago or 2 years ago, you wouldn't be able to bridge. Let's say if you only have USDC on Solana and you want to bridge to Base, you would need to buy Solana manually and this stuff. You couldn't do it just bridge and automatically pay the fees, the loans, and everything. Did you had like, I would like to see this in crypto, some specific project or idea executed?
No, I would make it if I did. I have problems generating ideas. Like even all these ideas that come to me from other people, and I can validate and all this. But again, why I say like DeFi is the only like really good use case for crypto. I still don't think I have enough like DeFi expertise to be able to come up with something like that. But there's small things like Spend, one of our most successful projects, this hackathon. Those guys made you able to buy off Amazon using crypto USDC without KYC, and those guys are on fire. Like everybody wants them. Everybody wants to collab with them. They're about to start their Temu integration, and I told them like only my girlfriend is going to triple your volume once you do Temu as well.
Yeah. Might as well for sure.
Yeah, and like it's such a simple idea. Like you just want to spend your money on items on Amazon. Like why can't I think of that? Like it's not. We're all complicating things too much. The simple ideas are the most valuable ones. That's why I especially like those guys.
Yeah, Temu is becoming pretty big in Serbia. Actually, it became, like the number of deliveries went like 10-20x in Serbia once Temu came to Serbia. So it's kind of funny. Yeah, I realize in so many of these services, for example, I got some money on Whoop, I got some money on PayPal. Like in order to transition the money like towards yourself, you need to pay, I don't know, 20, 30, 50 bucks per transaction, which is kind of insane. And with crypto, we can do all of that for like under $1. Like, I also wanted to ask you, like, what are the things we spoke about the scams and this stuff, What do you think are like currently like the biggest obstacles for like wider crypto and blockchain adoption?
Yeah, there's a bunch of problems here. So we in crypto really like decentralization and self-custody. This is a problem for my grandma. My grandma is going to have all her tokens taken from her. A lot of people who don't want to be as involved they like the bank to be keeping their money. For us technical people, it's a bit different. So I would say that's one of the definite obstacles. Another one was just like financial literacy. Like when people come to me and tell me, why don't you put this in the bank for a certain amount of time, you'll get like 0.02% APY. And then
after
I tell them
3 years,
after 3 years. And then I tell them, listen, I have 8% is just on staking Sol. Like if you use Lulo has 8 to 14% on stable coins. Like why would I use that? And then people tell me, oh, you're in this Ponzi scam. Like, all right, like I don't know how to change your mind here. I'm still actually learning how to influence those people and actually explain to them that their money is safe and that they can do these things. But financial literacy is a big problem. People don't really do finance. The newer generation, I think, is changing it, but I think that's with the old generation, I don't know if that's going to change. And again, technical literacy and the scam image. It's our own fault. Like Solana is the scam chain. I would argue it's because of all the economic activity. I would argue it's because of Pump Fund's motivations and dynamics and how Pump Fund works. And it was the most famous product in crypto for a while there. Maybe still is. But there are other use cases. There is a huge corner of people who are doing legitimate things. And again, it's very hard to educate people on that. Very hard. Like back to the case of us giving $50 to a student who won't take it because he thinks crypto is a scam. We just need to be consistent, honest, do good work, change the world in a meaningful way, like the collabs with Western Union for people, using remittance to send money back to their family. Like, why would my mom use this? How does this help my parents? Once we have enough use cases, and once we abstract the chain enough from those people where they don't even have to worry, like people don't say things like, "Oh, I'm scared of the internet anymore. I don't want to." People used to be scared of putting credit cards into online pages. But we just need consistency, and persist and never stop, and that will change over time. It's still an early technology, I think.
Yeah, I know a lot of people here, they still go to the bank directly, right, to raise the money because they want to have something that they can kind of touch with their own hands, right? And for me, it's weird that everybody in the past, I forgot the name of the app, but I remember everybody was installing that phone mining app in the past, hoping to earn some crypto. I forgot the name.
Pi.
Yeah, Pi, exactly, yeah. And like people were kind of very receptive to that, while they have like negative connotations toward new stuff. And I think it's impossible to pursue people to join crypto. That's at least my impression, And I think they like the best way to show them is like for them to see that you're living a good life. Honestly, it's weird to say that, but then people are like, especially in Balkans, like in Serbia we say, možeš li mene da ubaciš u to malo, so can you throw me into that a bit, And this is how they join. It's funny, but it's true from what I noticed, right?
For sure, and that's how we do it. Like I think when people, because people tell me crypto is a scam, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I've been living well off this scam for 4 years while never getting scammed, not scamming anybody, and living a good life and helping my friends and bringing them in. And jobs. That's why I say jobs, because when people actually go there, like when they live the 9 to 5, when they see that it's all just normal people like anywhere else, just with better salaries. And with more freedom, like there is no negatives if you're gonna go work for Jupiter, for Camino, for Soulflare, like these huge corporations who are very stable. This is not a company that's going down next bear market. Like you can have a normal life and a more pleasant life.
Yeah, I fully agree on that. Do you play some Web3 games, or have you played some Web3 games?
Web3 games? I've made some Web3 games, but I've definitely not played as many as you have. I've checked out your channel. I've played some.
Oh, what was your favorite one? Maybe.
So like we made Heist, we made the Remnants, we made DeFi Dungeons, which are all like they're kind of Ponzi games, but like openly marketed as Ponzi games. Man, I actually don't know how many. I played one back in the day that I can't remember the name. I played the Me Jump game from the NFT collection. I played Bonk's game. I've played all these kind of leaderboard based, highest score gets something next week kind of games.
But you have insane capabilities of like recognizing what market wants, from what I realized, right? Like even in Web3 gaming, I think many people actually in Web3 gaming lean towards that. So it's amazing actually. Like, and like in general in Web3, so you don't trade, right? You stake majority of your assets, right?
Here and there, sometimes I'll identify something where I think, or like, okay, like every 6 months, I'll see a project and be like, okay, this is it. Full port that, make some money, and usually turns out well.
Yeah, and I think like having that mindset that you can like keep the money and not trading consistently while actually waiting and like do very occasional trades, but good ones, you have kind of higher odds of winning, right?
Yes, and then they're not like trades where you're on a 100x leveraged perp where you're checking the thing all the time. Yeah. I just spend some money on the project and I'll come back 3 months later and I'm 80% sure that that's going to be up, like, because I just saw the value and I was there, right time, right place.
Yeah, makes sense. Yeah, for
it's
Solana,
very different to living on pump.fun, like I know some people are.
Yeah, I was actually doing some research on pump.fun and like the holding time at average decreased from like 3 minutes to 1 minute, which actually like, which means that most of the people actually hold like less than 10 seconds probably, right?
That is really funny. Really funny.
So pretty much the distance from the server actually matters a lot because somebody might execute a trade few milliseconds before you, right? So you kind of need to rely even on this stuff. I realized that many centralized exchanges in the past, they actually front run you consistently, right? If you just put your sell order, they just remove their bits and your average sell is much lower, right? So you can see a lot of that in the markets,
And there's a lot of, like, outside of sexes, there's a huge thing among traders about RPC nodes, which are like your access servers to Solana. And you can pay for like a dedicated node that's like specialized for trading. People those go for like 5, 10. In a deep bull market, those will go for like 50K a node. Because you'll be able to front run always. You'll be making bank.
Yeah. I didn't know that, but you pretty much you can see what trades others are putting in, and you can front run these, right?
If you are a malicious validator, if you're a malicious node in the network, then you can get a request, and then you can. But there's a bunch of mechanisms that used to be much more popular a couple of years back, but now like a lot of companies have made small pieces into larger solutions where those validators get like cut out of some like clusters who are disincentivized to do that and things like that.
Yeah, and do you know how many nodes are in total on Solana approximately?
I actually have no idea right now. It's like 4 digits for sure.
4 digits, okay.
The Nakamoto coefficient is much higher than ETH. Like, it's not centralized. The main valid criticism of Solana is that it still has 3, kind of 2.5 validator clients. So if one of them would like decide one day to inject malicious code or would break, Solana would probably come down. You need 4 different clients for like redundancy's sake. And like when we get like Fire Dancer and Frank Dancer and all these things, that should be better.
And when is that coming? I don't know these things so much.
Soon for a while now. But
I know when Trump released the token, people couldn't transfer funds for like few hours or something, right?
Like the network was very congested, but I think there was like no Solana issues. The Trump token launch was actually like a very successful test of the Solana network. It was, I think, possibly the highest demand it's ever had. It was like services that were attaching to Solana that were having problems because of the traffic, but Solana itself got without a sweat.
Oh, okay. When I woke up, it was around $20, and I was like, okay, this is too late. It wasn't.
Smart man.
Yeah.
Smart man. Better not touch that, man. Like, Melania token is possibly the worst thing to happen. To crypto. Like, there's those memes like the Web3 if Melania never launched the token and stuff like that.
Yeah, honestly, I use similar principle to you. Few trades and don't touch majority of the stuff. If you're not sure about that, like since you were a lot in development, like, and in general, we can see like a huge evolution of AI recently. How do you think the AI will like affect the development, the crypto markets in general?
I have a lot of thoughts on this. I think the AI is both hugely overhyped and also underhyped at the same time from different angles. Again, I have a dev shop with 10 guys. They use AI tools. I talk to them a lot. It's not there yet. Like, you will possibly find. I recently met an investment banker who has been vibe coding for 6 months, and he's sure he can make anything with his coding knowledge. And you don't need devs anymore and all this kind of stuff. When you actually go to production, it's a different story. Like coding your projects and like making a Discord bot and all these things is much different than actually having a production application with 10,000 degens in it concurrently with like liquid money flowing. I'm also a person whose system was 3 years ago hacked for $150,000. So we kind of know a lot about this. We've actually that incident taught us a lot, and also like after our incident, a lot of bigger organizations, Axes had the same exploit, which are like a huge corporation at this point. let alone five Balkan guys in a sweaty office here, and a lot of other gaming projects. And this is actually what's kind of preventing the gaming industry from taking off, because once you have a economy exploit, and you know how many like sinks you can have in a game, how many different touch points for a token. If a single one of those has a bug or a problem, the whole game economy is going to come crashing down, and this is causing like a huge barrier of entry for game devs. Game devs have never thought about these things. Like they're thinking about 3D models, game mechanics, all this stuff. Not about mutexes and like race conditions and all these crazy things where an attacker can drain you within 15 minutes and just walk away with all the money. I forget the initial question because I'm going on tangents, but I hope that made sense.
I noticed that specifically in gaming as well. For example, I joined recently one company for growth, but actually the first thing that I'm kind of addressing is actually these like problems with people like abusing how to position higher on a leaderboard and these stuff. So and I also realized that regarding AI, some things are evolving fast while others are like kind of not to the level where you would expect them to be. Even like simple tasks, like somebody posted on LinkedIn as a joke that they removed from the ChatGPT the M dash, right? And we still struggle sometimes with some basic things. So
it's gonna lie to you. The hallucinations have been proven, like mathematically proven, that you will never get rid of the hallucinations 100%. You will always have a little bit, and that actually is that's like a huge downer, because like, okay, now maybe one guy can supervise 10 AIs, but you cannot have a single AI running on its own. Like it needs somebody to keep checking it once it starts saying Moscow is in Portugal. Like it's just a problem.
Yeah, I think Albania, they put somebody like next to the president or something like as AI. I don't know exact position, like prime minister or something. I'm not sure whether it's a joke or not, but I was like, oh my god,
that sounds like, hilarious.
And I'm actually seeing like that so many people are trying to automate so many things, while I try to do a lot of things and I see a lot of them actually break, and we are kind of not to that point yet. I again need to ask you some like price action stuff. Do you think the bull market is over, or you think?
Man, the price action podcast. I'm an eternal optimist, and while my CTO and my dev shop will make fun of me relentlessly because of this, I think this was a dump before we blast. But I don't know. Whoever says they know are lying, and it makes no difference in the end. Like I'll either retire in a year or in 10. But
man, it would be crazy to not ask you these price action questions while you bought Solana and $10.
That's just a conviction play. I'm not a trader at all. Like, it's just like if you're living somewhere, like imagine you were living in Novi Sad and people were selling Novi Sad stocks, and there's the whole world is crying because of news that Novi Sad is going down to zero. And it's horrific. And you go out in the street and you're like, there's birds singing, the people are wonderful. I think you would buy that. That kind of logic, really.
Yeah, I know you said you have to go soon, so I have like one more question. Like, did you ever like had some moment when you were like either with Superteam Balkan or in general in life that you felt this is not going anywhere, I wanna give up, and what kept you in this moment to keep pushing forward?
Interesting question. Not let's say, not in my own perspective. There's been really hard times with the dev shop and some hard times with Superteam Balkans as well. But it's always kind of the most it's been is about like what we're talking about now, where it happens often, where I'm trying to uplift our reputation, like so that Solana doesn't come off as scammy, so that people actually see the true value. And then sometimes I see people, like, I don't know, you mentioned previously Thread Guy before we started the interview. He was like hosting the Solana main account spaces. I think that guy is extremely shady, and I think that is a very bad move. To put him as the host. I think he's connected to the LA Vape Cabal, all these sus people. And on those days, I sometimes get angry. Ask myself if what I'm doing has any effect on the world. Call Josip Volarevic, then we both agree that it's all trash, and we just keep working, man. What else can you do? But those kind of things disappoint me. Like, I think we should uplift our best and brightest, the builders, the honest people, not the people who have like stains on their reputation. I think that's very counterproductive to what everybody in the ecosystem is trying to do.
Yeah, I actually listened to a lot of his lives, and I think he's just trying to adopt to the market and hear everyone's perspective. He tries to approach things from like non-biased perspective, from what I noticed at least.
He's a good host. He's a great host, really. But just his association with the types of phase banks and like those like
yeah, I think for many people it's kind of difficult to avoid this stuff, in crypto, from what I noticed so far, like almost for everyone, if you dig deep enough, you will find something, and sometimes those people are actually like guilty of it, and in many cases they aren't guilty. For example, when I joined the crypto, I actually worked for one company for which, if it actually raised money, I think like a lot of people would blame me, because I was kind of face of the company and my picture was kind of everywhere and I was the only one doxed, Well, at that stage, I didn't had a clue what they're doing, and I would end up with very bad reputation if that actually took off. So it's weird to say that I was lucky that it didn't,
For sure. Yeah. I kind of have the same story actually with like Heist, which is now it's kind of one of our biggest successes. But like today, because I came into that not knowing crypto, I did not know what a Ponzi was. I was just the Web2 full stack dev.
Me as well, yeah.
Today I would not do that job. Like, even though I respect those guys to hell, they were great to work with, and we were top 1 gaming project in 2023 and top NFT collection in summer 2023, which I'm really proud of. But today I would not go and do a Ponzi. I would not.
Yeah, and I think it's a lot, for example, like many people, for example, since I'm a lot in a creator industry, you will hear from creators that they're okay with prediction markets, but they're not okay with the gambling, And it's it's very like at the edge where you cross the line, right? And yeah, one more thing, any upcoming events that you would like people to invite to, or?
Yeah, for sure. So we have a bunch of events going on in the region on the 4th of December. If this comes out in time, we'll see. The whole team will be at Abu Dhabi, Solana Breakpoint. If anybody's interested at all into Solana and have the capability, Breakpoint is like Solana Christmas. Like, it's like the 3 days of the year, and everybody just stops working and goes to the conference. Other than that, like, we'll be across many local conferences over the next year. We got a collaboration lined up with ETH Belgrade, Rust Summit, Money Motion, Alice in Blockchains. We've kind of felt, especially me on the Croatian side, that we've kind of let the region go. In Serbia, not so much, but I'm trying to do more activations with the local community. We've been going outwards, trying to acquire as much talent as we can, and now we'll be going back to our roots, trying to influence large local corporations and things of that sort. So come catch us at InfoBip Shift. Any local conference. You just look for the Superteam Balkan merch, and we're there.
Yeah, man, I love what you're doing, and looking forward to see Balkan taking over the crypto world. Yeah, so
thank you, man.
I appreciate you for joining, and thanks a lot. This was great. So yeah,
appreciate it, man. Absolute pleasure, and I hope to be seeing more of you at our community events as well in real life. Always a pleasure.
Yeah. I will post all the links to your Twitter, to Superteam Balkan, right, and everything in the description, so you can visit that as well and check it out. Thank you, everyone. Bye. See ya.
Bye.